Welcome to the Australian Business Executive Podcast, where we speak with Australia's most influential industry professionals on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all our content, including our magazines, podcasts and videos by visiting www.theabe.com.au and clicking on subscribe.
Today's guest is Steve Zappia, CEO of Marchese Partners Life 3A, an Australian architecture and interior design practice that has been established for almost 30 years and has extensive experience and expertise in the design of residential, seniors living, and commercial projects around the world. Steve is a founding director and CEO of Marchese Partners Life 3A, and his role is to guide the growth and strategic direction of the practice globally and to assist the executive and senior leadership teams meet their business goals and vision. Steve's experience and contribution over the years has been instrumental in the growth of the business. His role has encompassed client relationships, general management, and strategic leadership on selected major projects. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Jesse. It's a pleasure to be here.
So can you give us a brief history on how the Marchese Partners Life 3A business started?
Yeah, sure, will do. The business was founded by Eugene Marchese and myself in 1994 in Sydney, and we've now grown over the years to 8 offices with about 120 staff globally. We've got offices in Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, New Zealand, Kuala Lumpur, London and Madrid. I guess we were successful and the business grew quickly in the 1990s due to the residential apartment boom that happened in Sydney at the time. We provided quite a unique service, combining great design with a commercial mindset. And so we completed many iconic projects in those early years. About 20 years ago, we were one of the first design practices to bring our modern design to the seniors living and aged care sector. This changed the sort of perception of what retirement living could be and led us to become probably the leading practice for design of seniors living and aged care in Australia. Of course, soon enough, our services were being sought across the country and across the world, so practice grew geographically through Australia and New Zealand over that time into Asia and Europe now. Last year, we launched the Life 3A brand, which was to highlight our expertise in the seniors living, what we call later living sector. And through this brand, we've grown our services offering to include strategy and research services. And that's in addition to our traditional design services that we've always offered.
Okay. You're already alluding to it, but why don't you give us more of an overview of the services you provide?
Yeah, sure. Look, the business has always provided architecture, interior design and master planning services. However, over the years, we've realised that it takes more than just design to deliver really outstanding projects. So now the business provides services under the 3 main areas of strategy, design and research. What we found is to deliver really outstanding design, we really need to understand our clients' business and their aspirations. And so often we're now working with them well before we start designing their projects, helping them to look at their services model, their options, determine their project brief, the project feasibility, how this affects their operations, etc. This pre-design work sort of all falls under our strategy services banner. And likewise, the research part of the business, this really also informs our design process. We have a director of research who oversees all our research work. This helps us understand the market, the competing projects in the area, the demographics, the needs of an area. It's really important so that we really understand what the project needs to be and what the product needs to be, and we get it right for our clients. Our research team have also worked with a number of universities over the years to assist us develop our aging better design principles. And this has led to 3 of our projects being recognised as outstanding in the world's Alzheimer's report in 2020, for example. And when projects are completed, we go back and we research the outcomes, getting residents' feedback. Staff feedback is also really helpful to understand how we can do it better the next project. All this research, together with our understanding of the latest global trends in ageing and wellness, keeps our team and our clients at the forefront of design globally. So that sort of 3 pillars of strategy, design and research, it really works well together.
Okay. We're talking about the seniors that you've mentioned, but why don't you expand on that and talk about some of the other sectors that you work in?
Sure. Look, the key sectors we work in, obviously, as I mentioned, the seniors living sector, which also includes aged care and assisted living. We've also always been known for our multi-unit residential work. This includes residential apartments, townhouses, built to rent, student housing, large-scale mixed-use projects, and many of which include sort of residential projects above retail and commercial centres, so that sort of mixed-use type project. But we also do work in the commercial space, commercial offices, the workplace sector, refurbishments, office fit-outs, etc., as well as hotels and other hospitality projects like clubs and restaurants. And we've also done some work over the years in the health and education sectors.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, with all that in mind, what do you think makes you different compared to your peers in this space?
It's a good question. I think there's probably three main things that differentiate us. I mean, the thing I mentioned already, that full end-to-end service offering of strategy, design, and research, I think it's really unique. Also, our global footprint, our global perspective is really unique as well. I mean, we can understand what's going on in Europe, in Asia, and across Australia and New Zealand. So that gives us quite a unique perspective. And also going back to our core mentality that combines a passion for good design with a client-centric and commercial mindset. We've always really understood what's important to our clients. And so I think that's what sets us apart. If I dig into that a bit deeper, going into the full service offering, as I mentioned, strategy, design, research, that means that we can provide a truly unique end-to-end service for our clients, particularly those in the seniors living or lifestyle living sectors. We understand what's important to them and what's needed for their local markets, as well as the global trends and opportunities in these sectors. So we can deliver the next generation of what we call lifestyle living developments. Our in-depth research means our designs are embedded with evidence-based outcomes, and we know what works best for the residents and the staff. Having that full circle of understanding through those three service offerings, I think, is unique. Again, our international perspective, I mentioned that, understanding what's going on across the world, but also, sharing that knowledge amongst all our staff. Our staff communicate daily, we collaborate daily through those various offices, and it also means we have a 16-hour workday, which is pretty unique. So we can deliver at quite amazing speed because we are collaborating on many projects globally. So I think that's also unique. And again, coming back to that unique mentality, combining a passion for a design with a commercial mindset. We strive for design excellence, but we also understand what's important to our clients, which is really important. So designs need to be beautiful, but also they need to be efficient and buildable. And so that they always maximise the full potential of our sites for our clients.
Well, there's quite a lot of things in there. So why don't you take us through, some of the projects that showcase this that you've been working on recently?
Yeah, sure, Jesse. A number of amazing projects we've worked on around the world over the last couple of years in Australia, New Zealand, and Asia and Europe. For example, our Brisbane office is currently working on the Chevron 1 residential tower for Benson's Property Group at Chevron Island on the Gold Coast. It's going to be an iconic 42-storey residential tower. It's a super modern design based on a repetitive circular form, so it's a truly unique design, quite an inspiring design to look at. And the building will also house Australia's largest sub-penthouse and penthouse apartments, valued at 25 million and 50 million respectively. So pretty amazing project. In Sydney, we've recently started construction on the New Greens Chatswood development at Chatswood Golf Club. This project includes the Watermark Residences, a seniors living development of about 106 apartments, and a brand new golf clubhouse for the New Greens Golf Club. This is a great example of that leading edge lifestyle living project. Every apartment will have spectacular views over the golf course, and residents can utilise the amenities in the new golf clubhouse, including food and beverage and resident facilities, pool and gym, etc., etc. So a truly spectacular design and amazing lifestyle for the lucky residents who move into this particular project. Also recently in Victoria, our Melbourne office completed a 6,000 square metre commercial building, a medical centre for Lindock Living. The building's quite unique because its structure is constructed of innovative materials, sustainable cross-laminated timber and glue laminated timber, which is a relatively new and sustainable building model. The building features a landscape central courtyard to promote health and wellbeing for staff and visitors, as well as a dedicated training facilities for industry collaboration, etc. But the cross-laminated and glue laminated timber structure is pretty unique, and not many firms in Australia have experience with this type of construction, and so we're quite proud to have finished a building like that recently in Victoria. And in Europe, we're working on a number of retirement projects, later living projects in and around the UK and others in Spain, Portugal and Italy. In London recently, we completed a high-end later living development for Riverstone in Fulham on the banks of the River Thames. This project offers an amazing array of facilities and amenities such as a high-end publicly accessible restaurant and bar on the waterfront, amazing cinema, pool and wellness centre, etc., etc. The project's now one of the leading seniors living developments in London. So, we're pretty proud of the recent achievements that we've delivered, but also many other amazing projects on the books at the moment.
Yeah, it sounds like there's quite a lot there and happening at the moment. So, I mean, in the current context, what do you see as the current industry trends that you're seeing or witnessing at the moment?
That's an interesting question, Jesse. And what as I mentioned earlier, our unique sort of perspective, our global footprint, we're seeing trends emerge across the world in each location, and it's surprising how similar these trends are. For example, the seniors living sector is particularly interesting to us. Whilst each market is at a different stage of maturity across the world, we are seeing that many of the issues are the same across the world. Aged care, for example, as a standalone business model, has many challenges in many countries at the moment. However, to counteract that, what we're seeing that there's a solution to these challenges is the emergence of a co-located lifestyle-based seniors living and aged care developments, where some care services are provided on site and either co-located or integrated into the development. And this enables residents to move in when they are active and they're moving in for the lifestyle benefits these developments can offer. But then they can also age in place over time and be provided care services into their own apartment as their needs change. And when these developments are done really well, like our Gaines Park project in Adelaide or our Mark Moran project in Vaucluse, we've seen these projects be really beneficial for the residents, but also very successful for the operators. So I think this model is the model for the future. And I think this co-located idea is the future for this type of development in Australia and around the world. Another trend we've been seeing, which is kind of related to this, is the downsizer apartment market, which we're seeing be very attractive in Australia and in Europe as well. There's obviously a lot of people in this older generation who need to move into different type of accommodation. We're seeing that they're sitting on the much of the wealth in the world because their traditional large family homes are quite valuable now. And so we're seeing a trend where there are new operators or new developers who are traditionally probably residential developers wanting to get into this sort of downsizer apartment market. And so, offering them, the right type of accommodation as they downsize or some say right size is really an emerging trend. We're seeing this in many of our projects at the moment, including many sort of straight residential projects where we're seeing the larger 3-bedroom apartments selling really well, whilst the smaller units are no longer selling as well due to the current affordability issues for younger buyers and the current sort of negative investor sentiment. Recently, we've been helping many of these traditional residential developers move into this downsizer market and helping them navigate the emerging trends and helping them to develop the right solutions for their projects. And I think we'll see this trend continue over the next couple of years as we design to suit this market. And there's a bit of science to it. It's not sort of straightforward just providing 3-bedroom units. There are some things that we do need to incorporate to make these things work really well. And so I think we've got that unique perspective that we can offer for those operators and developers in that space. And of course, another trend we're also seeing post-COVID-19 is the emergence of the sort of wellness and hospitality-based design merging into most sectors. We're seeing our homes and apartments and aged care, retail, commercial sectors all merging with this sort of hotel, wellness, resort-style design, so that all these spaces are now much more lifestyle and wellness-based. There's a trend towards looking, towards the role of design in supporting and enabling good health. We're seeing this as a way to reduce, some of that social isolation, improving our home and work environments. For example, gone are the days of the sterile corporate office. For example, we really need to create work environments that are more casual, comfortable, more home-like to make it more attractive, for the workers to come back to the office again. We need to provide more inviting workplaces with breakout areas, casual dining, comfortable seating, et cetera, et cetera. This will encourage the staff to come back to the office and be less isolated at home and work more face-to-face. And I think that's a better outcome ultimately for them and getting that balance right. And there's similar things happening in our residential and seniors living developments where we're creating more resort and hospitality style environments, with lots of landscaped areas, lots of communal facilities, and rather than just sort of straight residential tower blocks. So they're probably the three sort of main trends, we're seeing over the last year or two.
All right. Okay. That's quite a lot to take in. So as we begin to wrap up and finish for today, is there anything else that you haven't had a chance to address?
Oh, no, I don't think so. But other than probably sustainability is another sort of key outcome at the moment that we're investing a lot of time in. Obviously, we as architects and designers have a responsibility to ensure we design as sustainably as we can to minimise our impact on the planet. And this is something we're committed to. We've recently completed a couple of projects where, for example, the Burnborough Ascot project in Brisbane, there was a 6-star rated community seniors living development, the first in Australia. Our New Greens project in Chatswood that I mentioned earlier, we're including over 2,000 solar panels in that project. So the project will be off-grid in effect. Residents won't pay any electricity bills on that project. So as a business, we're quite committed to this and also taking steps ourselves to reduce our own carbon footprint and to be responsible corporate citizens. So I think, I've probably said quite a lot there, but these are the sort of key things that, as a business we're working on at the moment. So happy to have been here and talk to you today.
Excellent. Well, Steve, I appreciate your time today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jesse.
This has been a production of the Australian Business Executive, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Australian Business Executive, including our magazines, podcasts and videos by visiting www.theabe.com.au and clicking on subscribe.